Destiny 2 is well known for its wide variety of exotic weapons and armor, and with the Witch Queen expansion coming very soon, I thought I'd try to come up with some ideas for a few pieces of exotic gear that could be fun to have in the game. Many of these ideas would need some balancing if they were actually to be brought into Destiny, but these concepts should still be interesting and could be pretty fun to use. Let's start with a simple one, the Latent Lockpick Scout Rifle. I don't know about you, but the biggest problem I find when using scout rifles is when an enemy runs at me, and I can't shoot it easily with the high zoom weapon. The Latent Lockpick is a solution to this. The first perk is called Knock Knock and is as follows. Killing multiple enemies, or a single guardian, grants a stack of the Knock Knock buff, up to a maximum of 5 stacks. It also has a second perk, Who's There? This weapon has an underbarrel shotgun, hold, reload, to switch between scout and shotgun mode. Each shot from this shotgun knocks the target back, and consumes 1 stack of Knock Knock. Imagine a scout rifle with an, "oh shit there's an enemy rushing me that's not good," button. While the shotgun part of the weapon would not deal as much damage as a normal shotgun, it would provide the utility to quickly get enemies out of melee range, and allow you to finish them off with a few shots of your scout rifle. I can definitely see this being useful in both PvP and PvE, and making more people use scout rifles, as aside from Dead Man's Tale and Grandmasters, they don't see too much use at the moment. As the shotgun would probably do a similar amount of damage to a melee, it would not be as annoying to deal with as regular shotguns in PvP, and as the enemy would be knocked back outside the melee range, they couldn't punch you to death before you finish them off. Next up we have the Panic Buyer Titan Chestplate. This exotic idea was inspired by Riskrunner's Arc Conductor perk, where taking arc damage applies buffs to the player. I always thought the perk fit better as armor, and would be interesting to see different element versions. The Panic Buyer is a regular chest plate with petrol fuel canisters strapped to it. The highly flammable perk does the following. Taking solar damage ignites the canisters and sets you on fire, giving you the "this was a bad idea" buff for 10 seconds. This buff makes you take burn damage, but also grants burn damage and explosions upon kill to all of your weapons. You will stop taking burn damage after getting a kill. The second perk, "This was a really bad idea," does the following. Letting the "this was a really bad idea" buff expire while still burning will fully ignite and blow up the canisters, dealing lethal damage to the player. The idea of this exotic is to provide a high risk, high reward playstyle to the player. When the perk is activated, they must immediately go and kill enemies to extinguish themselves, to stop themselves from being blown up, but will keep the powerful burn and explosion benefits for a while, allowing them to be significantly more deadly. This really fits the character of the Titan, who is beyond dumb, but somehow still manages to kill everything and make it out the other side alive, through sheer luck. This armor piece, the Voidmaster's core, has some similarities to the Panic Buyer, but is for the Void element. The intrinsic perk, Hunger of the Core, does the following. Suppression effects are partially resisted, meaning you can still double jump and sprint. Getting hit with void damage feeds the core, and when the core is full, you emit the Voidmaster's aura for 10 seconds, suppressing any enemies which come into very close contact with you. The second perk, Null and Void, means that punching suppressed targets deals significant knockback, and the target takes impact damage upon hitting something. Killing an enemy with a knockback enemy will extend the duration of your Voidmaster's aura. The idea with this chest plate is that you will try to throw your enemies into walls to damage them, but the main goal is to use the enemy as a pool ball, and throw them into someone else, damaging 2 enemies at once, and extending the duration of the aura. I can see this being a very difficult but very fun gameplay loop, as guardians would move around too much to hit easily, and small common enemies in PvE will not deal as much impact damage as larger heavier enemies would. Picture a Warlock aggressively high-fiving a knight at a crowd of acolytes, or an enemy guardian being thrown at their ally. While this could certainly be overpowered, tweaking the damage values and knockback amount could make it interesting but not broken. We've all seen the Colderheart trace rifle, but what if there was an even colder heart? Meet the even colder heart exotic hunter chestplate. The first perk is called Freezing Over. Kills with stasis abilities, picking up stasis wells, or being frozen or slowed, provides stacks of chilled. And the second perk, Cold Shoulder. Reaching 5 stacks of chilled grants you the cold shoulder buff, making melees apply the stasis slowing effect to enemies for a short duration. This exotic is similar to the last two, but for stasis, and the slowing effect applies slowed times 50, meaning 2 melees will freeze the enemy. This would be really useful for ad clearing, as it would shatter the enemy and activate some subclass perks too. While this perk is much simpler than some of the other exotic ideas, it could definitely help form some nice melee-based loadouts for the hunter and provide another interaction for the stasis subclasses. Next up is one of my favorite of these exotic concepts, the flashlight grenade launcher. You can probably see where it gets its name from. The first perk, batteries not included, reads, "Hold fire." This weapon feeds off your light to charge up a shot and launch a paracausal grenade which blinds enemies and heals nearby allies. While charging the weapon, you do not regenerate health or light-based abilities, and your movement speed is reduced. Firing this weapon without holding the fire button will fire a regular grenade projectile. The second perk, photovoltaic power, works like this. This weapon can be overcharged by interacting with an enemy player or Latent Hive's ghost, loading the ghost into the chamber and firing it as a charged grenade projectile. Loading a ghost into the chamber greatly reduces the charge time of the next shot, which will leave behind a rift of searing light, burning enemies and providing constant healing to allies. This weapon has a really unique interaction with the new light-powered Hive, which at the time of recording have not yet been released, but we can assume their ghosts will be left behind when they are killed. The weapon can be used as a sort of medic roll, putting yourself in a vulnerable state for a second or so to heal allies and blind nearby enemies, and when you power it up with an enemy ghost, the rift-like area created can be used both offensively and defensively. I'd like to look at this again after the Witch Queen drops, to see if it is still viable when we find out how the Latent Hive work. Before we look at the next exotic concept, I'd like to remind you that you can join my Discord server if you need help or assistance with learning any of the raids or dungeons. The server is of course completely free and the link is in the description. Just send me a message and I'll try to organize a raid for you. Back to armor, this hunter leg armor is the Puppeteers pants. The first perk is called Paracausal Puppet. Dodge cooldown increased by 100%. Dodging leaves behind a stationary decoy of your guardian, which is likely to attract the attention of enemies. Decoy appears on enemy guardian's radar. The second perk, Puppet Master's Payback, does the following. Enemies that shoot the decoy will be marked for a few seconds and will provide you a minor speed buff. Similar to Gemini Jester or the Bombardiers, these exotic boots will provide more utility to your dodge, to help you get out of bad situations more easily, with the speed buff when your decoy takes damage, making it easier to run away, or charge at the enemy while they are distracted. This would work really well with the Night Stalker's dodge that makes you invisible, as you could get behind the enemy before they realize that what they're shooting is only a decoy. This Warlock Chestplate is an upgraded high-tech backpack for your ghosts to live in, which provides some unique benefits. Kinetic Buddy, when your super is fully charged, holding class ability button drains 1/3 of your super energy, and grants your ghost the ability to defend you by firing laser beams at your enemies, for 20 seconds. The ghost would retreat back into your backpack and lose its offensive capabilities after taking too much damage, with it being able to take more damage in PvP than in PvP. The second perk, Light Drained, prevents you from picking up orbs of power or naturally regenerating super energy for 20 seconds after activating the ability. This is certainly one of the more interesting exotic ideas, providing the Warlock with a Kinetic Buddy, which is far more destructive than the normal Arc Buddy, but requires much more to spawn, and can be forced to end early if you don't keep it from being damaged too much. This could be very useful in some activities to keep damage on a target while you reload, or make it easy to clear out enemies. Finally we have the Tank Dreads, a very unique looking pair of Titan boots. These boots very literally turn you into a tank, with the first perk, All Eyes on Me. While sprinting, press class ability to consume your barricade charge and fire a projectile, making any minion of the darkness hit by the projectile target you. If the projectile hits an enemy, you are granted the Tanky Titan buff. This buff is described in the second perk, Tanky Titan. While you have the tanky Titan buff, your movement speed and damage output are reduced, but sustained damage against the enemy targeting you will provide you strong health regeneration. This is something I've wanted to see in Destiny for a while, a weapon or item which allows you to draw the attention of enemies. Although Titans are known for being the tankiest class, you cannot yet get the enemies to fire at you instead of your allies. With the tank dreads, you have a realistic way to draw fire from your weaker allies, and this could be especially useful in boss battles, as both you or your allies shooting the distracted enemy will help keep you alive while you are taking damage. Whilst this could be a little overpowered, maybe a short time limit on the effect or tweaking to the values could make it balanced and provide a better tank playstyle for my crayon-eating friends. So, there we have my 8 ideas for new exotics in Destiny. If you have any suggestions for changes to these exotics, or how they could be made more balanced, feel free to put them in the comments below. Any ideas for other new exotics are welcome too, especially those which add a unique effect or change up the game in some way. If you liked this video, feel free to like and subscribe, or if you didn't like it, then dislike the video. Maybe I will make a sequel to this video if you like it. I'll see you in the next video.